This is something really interesting. We are going to pitch the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus against the brand new Mi Mix 2. Let's get started. At their very core, the Mi Mix 2 and the Galaxy S8 Plus are two very different smartphones, created for two entirely different audiences, and these differences are going to come to the fore in a really interesting way when we compare the two phones directly. First things first, the Mix 2 is wider but shorter than the S8 Plus. And of course that's a bit of an odd combination, but the reason for it is the S8 Plus is just a longer phone. It has an 18.5:9 aspect ratio compared to the Mix 2's 18:9. And already we're starting to see a divergence. With these two different ratios, the phones feel completely different in the hand. Whereas the S8 Plus has a slightly more pebble-inspired design, it feels very smooth, all the edges curve very softly into the front of the phone, the Mi Mix 2 is a little bit harsher. It's not by any means uncomfortable and is still a very seamless device, but compared to the S8 Plus, does feel a little bit first gen. As a result of this, and also because it's the slightly lighter phone amongst the two, the S8 Plus does feel quite a bit more comfortable to hold than the Mi Mix 2. Another side effect of these great ergonomics on the Galaxy mean that although the phone is technically the thicker among the two, you really can't tell, and the Mix 2 next to it actually feels bulkier. Now, a complete departure to this, the Mi Mix 2 in my opinion looks miles better than the S8. The combination of its ceramic rear, gold-ringed camera, and also its matte finish sides, I think make the S8 look like a bit of a toy. It's also a little bit, and I do emphasize here a little bit because neither of these two phones are great, better at resisting fingerprints than the S8. Now, very quickly before we carry on, we are really trying to hit 700,000 subscribers by the end of this month, so if you could help by subscribing, that would mean so much to me. Unfortunately for Xiaomi, these two displays aren't even on the same level. Whilst the S8 Plus has a Quad HD Super AMOLED screen, the Mix is left with a Full HD Plus LCD. As a result, the colours and the contrast that the S8 can produce is in a different league altogether. The S8 Plus is not only brighter, but also has the capability of being higher resolution. However, even though the Galaxy S8 Plus is capable of a higher resolution, I find I actually prefer to keep the phone on its own Full HD Plus setting. For me, the extra battery you lose by moving to a higher resolution just isn't worth it in terms of what you can see on the screen. Also in favour of the Mi Mix 2, whilst the screen is smaller, its screen to body ratio is actually larger, which for a lot of users you're probably not going to tell much of a difference, but for the real tech heads among us, it's got that futuristic feeling to it. It really makes you feel like you're using the latest bit of gear. Both of these phones are top tier flagships, they are about as fast as each other, and to be honest the Mix 2's extra 2GB of RAM over the S8 Plus is not really noticeable at all. Even in extreme multitasking, both of them seem to keep open about the same number of apps, which is to be honest quite an interesting result, because I did notice when I was using the Note 8, which is kind of like the S8 Plus but with 2 extra gigs of RAM, I could definitely tell the difference. The Note 8 was better at multitasking than the S8, but unfortunately it seems like the MIUI software on the Mi Mix is just holding it back a little bit. Considering how similar the internals of the two phones are, it's quite surprising that the Mi Mix 2 benches a fair bit higher than the S8 Plus. In terms of gaming though, you really can't tell the difference. Both of these are pretty outstanding when it comes to games. One interesting thing to notice is that because the Samsung has an even more stretched screen than the Mi Mix 2, the black bars you have on screen on either side of your content are even larger. Unfortunately, both phones have pretty unimpressive speakers. The Mix 2's is a little bit louder and a little bit bassier than the S8 Plus is, which gives somewhat of a fullness to music and voices. Now then we've got one of the most important categories for most people, and that is camera. And the S8 Plus and Mix 2 both have 12 megapixel sensors, but the S8 Plus with an aperture of f1.7 can capture a fair bit more light than the Mix 2 with its f2.0. As the figures suggest, the phones capture a similar level of detail, but you will notice the Samsung, because of this larger aperture, can get much more of a bokeh effect. It blurs the background a lot more than the Mix 2 does. I also noticed the S8 Plus has a slightly faster shutter time and a slightly faster focus time, but this is far from a one-way battle. The Mix 2 benefits from a wider angle, so you can get more of the shot in from the same position. It's also got a better macro distance, so you can focus on objects that are closer to you, and not only that, but it also, in a lot of cases, captures better colour and contrast. In terms of video, both phones shoot in 4K resolution, and whilst I would side with the S8 Plus in terms of detail and general sharpness, I would go with the Mi Mix in terms of optical image stabilization. So then we've got battery life, and when the S8 Plus is on its Full HD mode, as I normally leave it, they're pretty similar. Both can finish a normal day with about 15 to 20% spare, so neither is amazing, neither is terrible either. If I do turn the S8 Plus to its native resolution though, you will literally just about to be able to scrape a day of use. You've also probably noticed throughout this comparison that both phones have completely different user interfaces, and visually speaking, I slightly prefer TouchWiz on the Galaxy S8 Plus. Compared to stock Android, I'm not really a huge fan of either, but I just think that MIUI is a little bit too playful. Having said that, MIUI on the Mi Mix 2 feels like a lighter operating system. It feels less heavy on the phone's resources, and as a result quite a bit more snappy and responsive. It's also got better customizability and more inbuilt theme options. A couple of other things we need to know about these phones. In terms of fingerprint scanners, the Galaxy S8 Plus one is more or less useless. I found that I've ended up sticking to a pattern on the phone just because the position is not only hard to reach, but also I keep ending up accidentally touching the camera. The Mi Mix 2 on the other hand is easy to feel for and also very fast. One potential sticking point with the Mi Mix though is that it doesn't support an SD card, whereas Samsung actually does. Now before we come to a conclusion on this, it's worth pointing out that these two phones actually occupy slightly different price brackets. Whilst the S8 Plus can be found on Amazon for about $750 for the 64GB model, a similar capacity on the Mi Mix 2 will cost you something like $570. And as you can imagine, after hearing all this information, these two phones are very evenly matched. It is not a case that one phone is consistently better than the other, these two are constantly trading blows in every single category. Whilst the Mi Mix 2 has a slightly better speaker, I would argue the S8 Plus has a slightly better camera. Whilst the Mi Mix 2 feels slightly faster, the S8 Plus has a better screen, but it's also more expensive. So whilst I can't say for certain which one of these phones is better than the other, if you are considering either of these phones, they are both great options. Bear in mind, as a bit of a side note, the Mix 2 doesn't have a headphone jack. If that is a deal breaker, then I guess the S8 Plus is for you. Thanks a lot for watching guys, I'm Mr. Who's the Boss, and I'll catch you in the next one.